All right. The name of this file is keyhole center, 1 inch horizontal. And this line represents the keyhole thing that we're going to do. Let's go ahead and just look at our size of our material. Generally, I just have this set up as a tool on my CNC tools. It's just a standalone tap file. Whenever I want a real quick keyhole slot, I just reach down there, pull the thumb drive out, put the V bit right on the very center where I want that, or the whatever the hole slot in the keyhole slot, and then I tell it to run, and it'll just basically go from the very center, it goes over this far, and then comes back. And so the setup of this job is 2 inches wide by 2 inches tall, and and the thickness of the material is just 3/4 of an inch. And of course, this all will vary, depending on what you got. Anyway, I use the center of the datum, and so that's where we're set up on that. Now, when we look at this, we zoom in on this, you will see that this is a rectangle. And all it is just a box that's been resized in, or I just drew lines and then I made a start and a stop. I'm going to turn the nodes on here. And you can see this is the start node, and it's basically going to go around here and come back, and that kind of a deal there. So we're going over that point there, all the way over to the right. And of course, you can't really see the tool pass going on. Let's go ahead and turn on our tool pass. Okay, there we go, right there. So that first arrow over there was showing that tool path coming on, and it was basically going on. In this case right here, it's coming up, going up here, going around there. And this is only offset by like a 0.001. So it's basically, whenever you look at it in a normal mode, it looks like the lines just stacked on top of each other. So that's kind of where that is. And let's just look at the tool path and the settings of it. The cut depth, this is what the optimum for the bit is. I've been having some issues with some of my bits. I've been making a lot of plaques lately for our Roll Rangers, and they're by donation. So anyway, I don't recoup a lot of money on it. I don't recoup any money. I just maybe every now and get a little bit of money for bits and finish. But anyway, the bottom line is that I'm making a lot more plaques than I used to, and sometimes I'm making close to 100. Maybe 100 and some odd a year, and it just keeps going up because these are hardwood plaques and they look really nice. So anyway, this is the settings for it, and notice here on the settings for the bit, and of course this shows the 3.75. I will say that I went and bought me a Diablo bit today. I have broken a couple of the cheaper bits. Lowe's was carrying a cheaper bit, and then they discontinued carrying them, and I think they went to another cheaper brand yet, and that bit broke not very many. And I had originally had a good, I think it was a Bosch a bit, keyhole slot cutter, and it had the carbide on both sides. And the last couple of bits I've had, it just had a single flute, and then it just kind of like had a counterbalance on the other side of it. And the last one I bought at Menards was like $12, and it snapped after 3 plaques. And that was with me slowing it down to 35% and just going through there. Yeah, I was going through a piece of walnut, but what can I say anyway? So there's the settings on it. Basically knows that when you see a 0.0001 anywhere, that basically says 0. And then your spindle speed's up to that point. Feed rate's 20 inches a minute, and the plunge rate's 10 inches a minute. And so that's all going. All right. I picked up a few things from Pawpaw's setup, and he changed his pass depth to 0.28. He changed his end mill to 0.28 in the cut, and then he changed his plunge rate down a little bit lower than what I had. And between the two of these, I had originally had these set at 16. Of course, I would always just turn it down on my shark when I would run it, but I would generally run one cut, say, oh, that's too fast, and slide it back down. So when I was doing 50 plaques, I'd dial it down to about 30%. So anyway, I came in here and decided to just change this and fix it up. And I also didn't want my cut depth to be the 3.75. I wanted it to be 2.8 because I always thought that they were cutting a little bit deep into my plaques. Sometimes my plaques are half inch. And so anyway, so I went in here and of course clicked applied and selected it and then closed it. and then I changed my cut depth to 0.28. And what that did is that, and then when you calculate it, click close, we'll hit preview. We're going to reset the preview, and basically there's that. And let's go ahead and run this in the simulation. And this is just a 1-inch cut. If it's 2 inches, it'll kind of bog down right here in the middle, and you won't see the completion. But the 1 inch, it does. And the only reason this is doing this is because when I do my 2D mode, this is a rectangle. It's not just a line snapped on top of each other. It's a rectangle. So there we go. And just thought I would throw that in and add here. And I generally call my toolpaths for what they're doing. And this way, it's a keyhole center, 1-inch horizontal, and that's going to put that exactly where I want. So when I tell it to calculate, it goes through there and it calculates it. Zoom in a little bit so you can see what the deal is. There's your tools coming in, and it's coming out on the same end. So we're going to preview the selected toolpath. Now we got the speed all the way up, so there it is. And all it looks like is just bam. You really couldn't tell what it was doing. So I'm going to reset the preview. I'm going to turn the speed way down because it's only a 1-inch cut. And we're going to preview, and you'll see that it starts over here, and it goes and back, and then comes back. So let's reset it again and run it one more time. That and that. Now, I can't get that preview to actually do that if I just use a line snapping back and forth on itself. The preview won't, it'll cut it, and it'll do just fine. But the preview, when you go to looking at it, you're like, what's going on there? So anyway, let's reset. We're going to watch this one, and then it just looks like it's going all the way to the end and stopping. So that's what happens when that gets to that point. But anyway, this is a toolpath, and I've been, I originally was a 2 inches toolpath, and I thought, I don't need to go 2 inches. Basically these plaques don't have a lot of size to them. They're a 5x7. So a 1-inch toolpath is plenty. And of course, this puts a little slot in there where your screw goes on one end and then the little slot. And of course, depicted as a 3/8 inch, hole. But anyway, so we're going to go out to the shop and cut these out and see what we can come up with. All right. Last couple of bits are broken, right in there, but this is a cheaper bit. This is brand new CMT. Like I said, only run 3 plaques, and it cracked right there and broke. This is the new Freud bit. It's substantially beefier than this one. It's got the double flutes. This one does not have the double flute on it. It has well, I take it back, it does. This one does have the double flute on it. I was looking at some other ones that didn't, but this one does. But anyway, it snapped right there, and yeah, that's really disappointing because, $12, just 3 cuts, no, 2.5 cuts, and bam, and that was a CNT tool from Menards. And then this is the Diablo, and it looks like it's going to cut considerably better. And there's the 2 bits out there, but it has the strength of the carbide up there to where that shank is welded on both sides. So yeah. So anyway, then the warranty is basically to make a phone call them up, and they guarantee it. 60 days replacement. So I don't know what their guarantee is, but anyway, it says lifetime guarantee right there, but I don't know if 60 days is considered lifetime or not. And then this is the the settings on these, the bit size, the cut size, the length of the shaft, and it's 1/4 inch. So pretty good deal. So let me get that checked up in there and get on with this. All right, we're gonna load it up. Again, this one that's just got like halfway cut on it. Put that over there like the top of that. Let's over the top of that. And as you can see, there's no slop either way in that. It's just down there to that. You go ahead and set the height to that, and then we'll run it. All right, I've got it zeroed down. I've got 2 tool paths. One is a 1-inch horizontal, and this is one's a 2-inch horizontal. So I'm gonna go ahead and just recut that one just so that it'll be, right. So I'm gonna go hex, double click on my, and that's gonna set it down to 0, and that's in the center of my cut. Just kind of looking at it, and yeah, we're good to go. I hadn't really changed anything since I went and got the new bit. All right, so let's get it up and get it cutting. got the 2-inch keyhole saw entered. Click next. And I generally would have this hood down and the vacuum on, but it ain't going to be doing much cutting. So let's just let it rip. And I can slow this down even more than that, but we'll just see what she does. I'm going to go ahead and run a 1-incher on there and see what it's like. Alright, I'm going to load this thing up. And we're going to do the 1-inch horizontal. There she is there. And we're going to go next. And click start. It's going to be fast. That was at 20 inches a minute. I think that other one was programmed a little faster than that, so with the chattering. Anyway, I think that's about right. So I'll have to look at that and fix that on that other one. But anyway, let's get it out here and look at it. Turn them bad dogs over to the side. Reach in there and take it. And these, I had to take a little extra planing and sanding on them to get them right. And there's our keyhole slot, nice and pretty cut. These are just a little bit thinner than the other ones, so I adjusted the height up just a little bit so that would be in there like that. So yeah, came out nice looking. So let's go ahead and go over here and get these done. And I'm not going to have you watch it. I will tell you what I did on this is I just took a couple of popsicles, because since these are a little bit lower, a little less thin, and they were thinned and sanded just a little bit. Of course, I have my bad edge up, and I've already filtered all those with the bad edge and moved them around. So I just have these up here just to make sure that they hold the board up and the cams activate the top. So let me get that done. All right, these same settings where we're going to be cutting through some cedar. All right, there we go. Nice keyhole slots, beautiful walnut, nice solid walnut. These are basically glued together from scraps that would have gone to the burn pile, and I just said, okay, that's long enough for a nice looking plaque. And so I just kind of throw them over to the side, and then every now and then I go through there and I clean them up, and sometimes I have to re-glue them back together. And as you can notice, the grain pattern is different on this one than it is this one. This one's going this way, and this one's going this way. And that's just the scraps. I had some scraps that were a little bit under 7 inches, so just glued them together. And, they look nice either way you put them around it. Of course, these will get a bevel edge, and they get laser etched in there. So, and then, of course, this is the back side, so these are the worst of the side. But they come out really beautiful. And I hate to throw my wood away. This is some wood that I've cut from logs. Almost all my wood, other than plywood, comes from logs that I've cut, and trees that I've cut down to 4 feet long. And that's all red oak there. And then back in this corner is some walnut. It's on a pallet there. And then this is cedar. That's right there. It's on a pallet. And basically, I just get that wood and turn it back into Royal Ranger projects, and by donation, pretty much. So, also do some other lumber. Sometimes people will say, "Hey, if I cut down a log off of a tree in my front yard, would you make something?" I said, "Sure." And so I've made some wahoo boards and different things. So, I always enjoy doing that stuff. Anyway, there's your keyhole episode, and we're back on track. I'll put these in my little storage over here for the next round of plaques, and get that all ready. Also, just a heads up, the Lowe's has this instant bond adhesive for half price of what you can buy it at Amazon, and that is some good stuff. I mean, to tell you what, that's some of the best instant adhesive I've done. I've been using 2P10 stuff and some of this, the Fast app. And this is good glue, don't get me wrong. I like this stuff. But this is really amazing right here. I'm just really liking that. And I've used a bunch of it. And so I went to Lowe's and bought 2 more cans of it for that price, because when I priced it on Amazon, they were wanting $30 a bottle, and Lowe's has them for $17, so $31.17. So that's a good buy, and let's get back to work. Another thing, I bought this 3-pack of tape. I had just 1 roll of this, and I thought, well, what's the difference between this and the normal blue tape? Oh, I tell you what, this really holds good when you lay it down and it peels up nice. It's a step up above the other normal blue tape, and it's that 2093 Scotch. I bought the 3-pack from Lowe's. It was one of these was like almost $10 for a roll. I got 3 for 26 something. So anyway, so that was a little bit of a bargain. So let me keep that. Yep, there we go.